Hi guys, my name is Claudia and I'm a dog nutritionist, and today we're going to talk about 10 foods that are safe for humans but not safe for your pets. The first food that we're going to talk about is chocolate. Chocolate is obviously great for humans in moderation, we would call it. But the darker the chocolate is, the more dangerous it is for your pet. So obviously, if your pet got into some white chocolate, then you wouldn't have to worry as much about the serious risks when it comes down to digesting chocolate accidentally than if they digested dark chocolate with, let's say, 50% cocoa inside it. So chocolate contains theobromine, I hope I'm saying that properly, which is extremely toxic to dogs. And it can cause vomiting, it can cause tremors, it can cause heart issues, seizures. And if your dog is really small, like a Chihuahua, and they got into a whole bar of dark chocolate, then they're at extreme risk of severe side effects, and they would have to get to the vet ASAP to induce vomiting and to give them fluids and monitor them overnight to make sure that they are not getting poisoned by chocolate. Next one we are talking about is grapes and raisins. So grapes and raisins, obviously if your dog gets to 1 or 2, if they're a large dog, it's not unsafe. Obviously we would still have to watch them for diarrhea or vomiting, but if they're a very small pet and they got into them, it might be dangerous because grapes and raisins contain tartaric acid, which can cause sudden kidney failure, and it can be really bad for your pet. So if your pet got into those, you can either call poison control or you can contact your vet and see what your next step is. So let's talk about the controversial topic. Obviously, onions are not safe for your pet, but garlic in small amounts is. So with onions, they contain a specific sulfate inside them that can cause damage to red blood cells that can lead to anemia. It can have serious side effects for your pet. But when it comes down to garlic, it also contains no ingredients, but in extremely tiny amounts where it doesn't cause any issues for your pet. So if you're feeding your pet about 1/4 of a teaspoon per 7 kg in their weight, it can actually be very beneficial for them. It can be a great natural dewormer and it can be very good for their immune system. But if your pet got into a few cloves or a big bulb of garlic, it might have some side effects, so then you can contact your vet. But I don't think any pet would get into garlic because of its pungent taste and its spiciness when it touches the tongue. So tiny amounts in moderation of garlic is perfectly fine, but we do want to avoid onions. Let's talk about avocado now. So with the avocado pulp, it's very good for your pet. It contains a lot of lovely amino acids that your pet would benefit from. But when it comes down to the pit, the skin, and the leaves, they contain something called persin, which can be very bad for your pet and it can cause really bad digestive upsets. So if you think that your pet got into your avocados and they ate the skin and the pit at the same time, then I suggest contacting your vet and seeing what to do next, such as obviously inducing vomiting and monitoring your pet. Xylitol is another one that we will talk about. So xylitol can be in chewing gums, it can be in toothpaste, it can be even in peanut butter. So with xylitol, when your pet digests this accidentally, it can cause a massive spike in insulin in their body, which causes a dangerous drop in blood sugar. This can lead to seizures and liver failure, which is really bad for your pet. So if your pet got into any xylitol products, contact your vet. Next one we have is alcohol. Alcohol, even in tiny amounts, can be extremely poisonous for your dogs because dogs cannot digest alcohol. So if your dog got into any alcohol, it can cause severe poisoning, which can lead to a lot of bad side effects that would require your vet to intervene and help your pet. Next one is cooked bones. So obviously in the name of the writing that we just have here, cooked bones can splinter easily. So when you go to a pet store and you see a lovely big shank bone that you think would be really good for your pet to chew on and it would be really good for their boredom, it's not, because it can cause a lot of digestive upsets, and if they digest any of those sharp pieces, it can cause a lot of issues, because raw bones and cooked bones act very differently in the dog's stomach acid when they're being processed. So never give your dog cooked bones. Like we talked in our previous video on my YouTube channel that you can have a look about in the transitioning to raw food, I was talking about raw bones, so you can go back and look at that, but never feed cooked bones. Next one we have is macadamia nuts. So obviously if your pet digests one and they're a large pet, nothing might happen to them. But if they're a tiny pet, they might have a lot of digestive upsets. And what we can see online as well with macadamia nuts, because they are such high in fat and whatever ingredients they have inside them, it can cause issues with the pancreas, leading to pancreatitis. I suggest that if your pet has any macadamia nuts accidentally, I suggest contacting your vet. Next one we have here is caffeine. Caffeine can be present in a lot of things, such as coffee, black tea, even some green tea that is not caffeine free. And caffeine can cause sudden high heart rate and really bad gastrointestinal upsetness. And all those three can overstimulate your dog's digestive system, which can lead to tremors. Your dog can even have a seizure if they have too much caffeine, and their nervous system will basically shut down if they have too much of it, because they don't know what to do with it. So if your dog does digest any of it, like we said, contact the vet. Last one we have here is raw bread dough, especially the yeasty ones and the sourdough ones that grow once you leave them in a warm place. So if your dog gets into the raw dough, when it's in their stomach, it turns into alcohol and gas. This can be life-threatening, and in big dogs can cause bloat, which bloat is basically when you have the dog's stomach and the dog's stomach twists and they're not able to digest their food. They start retching, they start trying to puke, but nothing is coming out. They're unable to have any stools either, because their whole digestive system is blocked. And that's really dangerous. And if your dog doesn't get help within a few hours of them getting bloat, then they can die. So obviously if your dog gets into raw dough, whether it's yeast or it's sourdough, you have to contact your vet, and immediate surgery would have to be performed if it's already in their stomach and they have bloat. But if they have gotten into it and it's still in their stomach, they can induce vomiting, and your dog should be okay after it if you found it very quickly. So like you can see from this video, a lot of these foods we can digest and we enjoy these foods, but our pets unfortunately don't. And there's many foods that we can give them as an alternative, and they can enjoy it while we enjoy our no foods for the dog. So obviously, if your pet got into any of those, contact Poison Lines or contact your vet. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment and subscribe, and let me know what you'd like to see next. But I'll see you on the next one. Bye.